Hi, and welcome to the Yak. Today, we're going to present our top 10 flop albums by progressive rock bands that we absolutely love. And these will be in no particular order.
Now this is probably going to be the shortest top or bottom 10 ranking we'll ever do. So Les, are you feeling excited about this review?
Yes, Tom, very. I am as excited as a Scotsman who has spent thousands of his hard-earned pennies on albums that quite frankly ended up being as dismal as a snowy night on the main face of Everest in all but your jocks and a t-shirt.
Well, I could probably vouch for that, actually. So you know the rules. We talk about 10 of our favourite progressive rock bands, and if we agree that they released a flop album, we take a drink if we bought the album.
Okay.
And a word of advice to anyone watching this, do not under any circumstances buy any of the following records, as none of them are good for your mind, your body or your soul.
Well, it's a very sad day for prog rock indeed.
Well, I suppose the only bright side about these man-made disasters we're about to relive is that you're supplying the alcohol, Les.
Oh, I'm fine.
But having said this, I hope that my glasses stay full. Okay, let's get this over and done with, and quickly.
This is my favourite tipple.
Okay. Tipple, isn't that a brand of stain remover?
Funny enough, that's exactly what I've provided for you to drink.
Okay, all right, thanks. Well, look, you're very well organised, Les, and this looks pretty serious, I might add. There's a lot of alcohol in this table. Are you sure we're going to need all this?
We may in fact need more, Tom. I've seen the list. I just bought these shot glasses too. Apparently they're made from lead-free glass.
Well, that's a bonus because it's been a while since I last took my lead supplements. And you know, back in the old days, or back in Beethoven's time, they actually used to add lead salts to improve the flavour. And Beethoven liked his wine. He had a good palate too. And he used to get cases of it delivered to his front door. But it didn't do much good though. It just made him feel miserable and stopped his ears from working. And it made him go a bit mad too.
And yet he never made an album like some of the shockers we're about to discuss.
Well, look, I'm just going to hope that I didn't buy too many flop albums, I guess. All right, so look, I'm going to pick the first band.
Okay.
And I'm going to start with, ELP. Emerson, Lake and Palmer, one of my favourite prog rock bands. Now, it's probably a choice between In the Hot Seat and Love Beach. And look, there's not much in it, I guess, but I'm going to pick the album called Love Beach. It contains music as bad as the album cover.
They almost look like they're trying to start a modelling career to compensate for the poor sales of this one.
Now, I didn't think that ELP wrote love songs, but they're here on this album. And if anyone watching went to see ELP tour with this album, well, I'd just keep quiet about it. It's definitely not a work which caters for prog rock fans. There's a host of short, stumbling songs, and then the album finishes with a tepid 20-minute track for the prog fans. But by that time, that track comes around, the album's already been thrown in the bin. The album, or the band, has strayed way off the mark here. It's lame, it's unfortunate. It's not even good pop rock. So let's just blame the record company for some unforeseen error. It's ELP, but not as we know it, Jim.
Well, I'm actually okay with In the Hot Seat, although it's not my favourite ELP spin. Love Beach, though, is quite simply a very dismal listen. This album was solely written to fulfil a contractual obligation, and boy does it sound like it. The band had actually broken up during this recording, so I've no idea how they even got through the recording sessions. It did reach number 48 on the UK album charts and 55 on the Billboard charts, but I would suggest this was more due to the fact it was a new ELP album and the sales were driven by very early purchases. They actually did tour the album, but they were hardly talking to each other, and Emerson's increasing drugs use was not helping the situation. Decision, Tom?
Love Beach.
Love Beach for me, and I bought the album.
Yeah, well, I bought that album too. So time for a drink.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's strong. Okay.
Your pick, Les.
Whoa, just get my breath back. Okay. Well, Pink Floyd.
Oh, okay.
And the final cut is the obvious choice here. Hardly a Floyd album in any way, shape or form, and a truly depressing piece of work set upon the background of the Falklands conflict and performed with a multitude of session musicians. To quote Gilmore, very miserable, and even Roger says what a miserable period it was, and he was the one who made it entirely miserable. The album was basically offcuts from the wall, and Gilmore and most Floyd fans could never understand why they regurgitated those pieces. Some of it was 5 years old, and serious contemplation was given to the idea of playing the shows with Andy Bown of Floyd tribute group The Surrogate Band taking Waters' place. Waters stated, by the time we'd got a quarter of the way into making the final cut, I knew I would never make another record with Dave Gilmour or Nick Mason. After much arguing with Waters, Gilmour surrendered his producer credit on the album. He didn't share his get rid of his producer royalties, and he was even to say, it reached the point that I just had to say, if you need a guitar player, give me a call and I'll come and do it. End of an era for me, and I guess lots of others too.
Sure. Well, I was just going to say it's crap. Yeah, look, it's bad. It's basically a Roger Waters solo album with help from Gilmour and Mason, but recorded under Pink Floyd. And actually, I heard that Gilmour and Mason did try to run away, but Waters rounded them up. So in short, it's an exhausting and relentless 43 minutes of agony and depression. And by comparison, it makes The Wall sound as happy as the sound of music. So decision.
Well, I have to say I bought it.
Yeah, well, I used to be a Waters fan too, but not anymore. Yes, I bought that album, but only because there was a whole crate of these going really cheap at my recycled record store for some reason. So, next round.
Yeah. Well. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
All right, I hate to do it, but my next pick is Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now, can you refresh my memory, Les? Now, Yes recorded Fragile, Close to the Edge, Going for the One. And, well, in today's category, we have lots of choices, in fact. Open Your Eyes, The Ladder, Magnification, Heaven and Earth, The Quest. I mean, that's almost half the entire catalogue. So, look, it's too hard to pick. I mean, there are so many dud albums to choose from, so I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. Can you pick one, Les?
It's got to be Magnification for me. It's just complete drivel. The band sound aimless and all over the place. The songs for me lack structure, and to be honest, I feel John Anderson is just wandering over poorly developed melodies. It was a bit soul-destroying as it was hailed as the big comeback, going to be the great album. But for me, it had the effect of being slapped in the face with a dead fish. I was so disappointed, and yes, I bought the album.
Hey, we forgot about Tales from Topic Replications.
No, we didn't. I love that album.
Actually, I don't know why I said that. I love that album too. It was only Rick who didn't like that one. So there's only one good thing about all these failures, Les.
Oh.
You see, you bought them and I didn't. Now, if you remember, I just used to listen to you complain about all those albums and I steered right clear of them. So money well spent. So you can drink to that.
Okay, hang on, just for a moment. True, I did. I bought all those albums.
Yep, that's
the
right.
mistake of a lifetime.
Yep.
Actually, were you waiting for me to buy them?
Absolutely. But you kept on buying them too.
I did. Hang on. This one you forgot, Tom. One you forgot, which I know you have.
What's that?
Tormato.
What? You mean tomato?
I mean Tormato, Tom.
You mean the one with the tomato on the front
That's
cover?
the one. It's called Tormato. And I'm pretty sure you've got that.
Okay, look, I'd forgotten about that. That one. Yeah, look, nice touch, Rick. Funny how Wakeman showed his approval for that cover by smearing it with a well-launched tomato. So, yeah, look, you got me. I bought that album, so let's toast to Tomato.
Yeah, Tomato.
Okay, there we go. Okay, your pick, Les.
Are these getting stronger? Okay, number 4 has to be the great Jethro Tull and the wonderful or not so wonderful Rock Island. This is the epitome of a poor man's Dire Straits cover album. I've got no idea what he was thinking about this album, or even if he was thinking about this album. Crest of a Knave comes pretty close, but for me, Rock Island is the sad end to a particular period. Dull would be a kind word to describe the album. Deathly Pale is a more accurate reflection, in my opinion. Supposedly it was meant to be a shift to a more heavier sound, but it failed dismally in that respect. It sounded more like 80s pop.
Yeah, look, okay, look, it would have to be, for me, between Under Wraps, Crest of a Knave, or Rock Island. It's close, but I'm going to run with Under Wraps. So someone please phone 911. Again, it's our hero Ian Anderson recording albums when he's running on empty with no ideas. Look, he should have just gone on holiday, relaxed, and then come back and recorded just one good album. I would have been happy with that. So, Les, decision.
Yeah, I bought Rock Island. As a side note, I also bought Crest of a Knave and Under Wraps. Proof positive that I can't speak after the drinks. Proof positive that oh, like it was just yeah. The drinks kicking in.
Okay, well, look, I bought those albums too, and now on top of that, I actually saw the Under Wraps tour in Melbourne in '84. Crap. So look, God, will have to be a double.
Well, not for me. I didn't go to. Okay, double. Here we go. This will be interesting. Whose idea was this?
Okay. All right. Now this is hard, but I'm going to say.
Okay.
I'm going to say Genesis. Now, are you ready? I'm going to pick Calling All Stations.
Oh, that's strong.
A monumental catastrophe for one of the best prog rock bands in the universe. Now, Phil Collins left Genesis in 1992, but Rutherford and Banks wanted to continue and recruited singer Ray Wilson. But without worthy songs. So the question is why? So look, sorry, but we're supposed to be talking about prog rock, and I'm not sure what this album is apart from an unfortunate mistake. So look, with a bit of luck, I might just lose my hearing.
I think I'm halfway there.
So thoughts, Les?
Oh well, look, for me, I like Ray Wilson, and I like Ray Wilson as a singer, but that particular album, not great, yes. But for me with Genesis, well, it's it's a historical thing. It's Duke. Whilst there were some decent tracks on this album, it kind of marked the beginning of the end of prog Genesis for me.
Sure.
From here on in, I would like certain tracks rather than full albums by Genesis. That's all I want to say, really. It was truly the end. It was truly the end of their adventures in prog music and a heavy switch to pop, basically. To be fair, it did remove the record company debt big time. So, decision, Tom.
Yeah. Look, absolutely. I have all their albums.
Well, I bought Duke, so if you bought all their albums, you got Duke too.
Well, Genesis, here's to you.
Yes.
Cheers.
Don't know if I can even say Genesis anymore.
I think I might need a refill. How are you going?
Have we got much to go? Oh, jeez.
Okay. Where's your pick?
All right. Now, this was a difficult one.
Right.
It's Mike Oldfield.
Yeah.
And I need it to be known that I simply love Mike Oldfield as an artist.
Absolutely.
But the album Heaven's Open is one of those anomalies that is a true dirge from the darkness. From the opening rock song, Make Make, to the reggae-infused Gimme Back is quite simply a chore for the ears. Oh, excuse me. The title track, Heaven's Open, is just a reworked Moonlight Shadow clone, and the 20-minute opus Music from the Balcony has some truly strange and weird moments, excuse me again, that make it more of a curiosity than an actual song. More noise than melody, an ear bashing in it if ever there was one from Mike.
Yeah.
You get more?
Well, look, I'll probably go with Earth Moving. Now, look, this one's really strange. It sounds like soulless 80s American pop gone wrong. There's bits and pieces that sound like Foreigner, Richard Marx, Survivor, Toto, and even Madonna. I mean, have a listen. It's weird. I can't even remember there being a trademark or any trademark big guitar solos from Oldfield. He sort of thinks about getting fired up a couple of times, but then he retreats. I think there must be a point when a great artist like Oldfield sits in the studio, listening to the final mix all alone, and then just thinking to themselves, I'm about to make a huge mistake. So, Les, decision.
Look, I've bought every Mike Oldfield album, so that means I have this in the collection.
Okay. Scotch.
Okay.
Okay. Who's next?
Tastes nice.
Me? Am I next?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
You go next.
All right, my next choice is King Crimson.
Look, luckily I've never bought a King Crimson album. I'm safe here. I'm not keen on any of them.
You're kidding.
Not kidding.
Oh. All right, look, I admit there are a few albums of theirs which I've only played once or twice, and that was enough. The early period for me generally is my favourite, but I find it hard to listen to some albums like Islands, Beat, and The Construction of Light. So look, okay, today I'm going to pick Beat. Now, I love Levin's bass and stick work on the album, but overall it's lacking something. It's called music. So look, just have a listen to it. It's a bit like having a bad nightmare. You're living it and you just feel uncomfortable and scared about what's going to happen. And you just want it to end, so please avoid it. And actually, I remember Robert Fripp using the following description on one occasion, and to quote him in some context I can't remember at the moment, but it's shite. But, of course, performed by the best musicians on the planet.
It's
because it all been handpicked by Fripp. And, I did all those reviews on Crimson, remember? So, of course, I have the entire collection. Some I keep well hidden in my basement. So what a backfire. Shite.
Look, to be honest, I could choose many from King Crimson. But Lark's Tongues and Aspic is a particular horror story for me. Disjointed, eclectic, beyond the realms of sanity, it is a nightmare of a listen. 7 minutes of the talking drum is enough to start looking through the house for headache pills. This, on top of a part 2 from the first track, makes this a truly awful listen. It is. An all-time low for me. Thankfully, I had no need to buy this after borrowing your copy. So for me, a near miss.
But Les, Lark's Tongues is one of their better albums. I only loan you the good stuff. But Beat is just terrible. Okay, so look, I don't know how many I've had already tonight, but a drink, please.
Yeah, I'll go with you. What the hell?
Okay.
Cheers.
Right. Okay. Cheers.
To shite. Okay. On to one of my favourite bands.
Right.
Rush.
Right.
Rush. Huh?
Sorry, I don't know why I laughed then.
I can't pick an album from Rush. I can't think of one. And the album...
Yep.
Yeah. I actually can't think of a Rush album. I don't. There's no bad Rush album.
I don't think they've done any bad albums.
No.
Look, I suppose one of my less favourite might be Test for Echo.
I
but
love that album.
I can
That's a
still
great
listen
album.
to it. It's got some great, solid tracks on it. So, in summary, Rush, well done, lads. So we're up to number 9, right?
No, we're still on 8. We
Oh,
we couldn't pick a bad album from Rush, so we have to move on to another one.
Okay. All right. Let's go with Marillion. Now, there have been a few misses.
There's
So
been a couple.
it's probably a choice between Happiness is the Road, Somewhere Else, Marillion.com, and Radiation.
You're picking the whole collection, eh?
I'm going to run with Radiation because, in summary, it's bleak. The band wanted to make some recording changes from their usual style, and the changes just backfired. But apart from all that, there's just no inspiration. There's no love, no joy in the music itself. Even the title lacks warmth and enthusiasm. It's just dreadful. I mean, I wouldn't even use the CD as a drink coaster when friends came round because frankly they're smarter than I am. And they'd realise I made a big mistake and bought the album. So over to you.
How about Fear? Great title.
That's a great title.
I bought the album based on that title.
Right.
Very disappointing music. This must be one of the most depressing albums I've ever had the misfortune of coming across. For me, there's no highs or lows, just one long, emotionless drone of music. Shades of the Final Cut here, in my opinion.
Not again.
Many love it, but I have very little love for it. I find that it's soulless with a direction shift I've found hard to take. Compared to something like Brave or Misplaced Childhood, it's like Roger Waters made a Marillion album. Flat and dull is me being nice about it. So, decision, Tom?
Yeah, look, I forgot that about that album actually, but it is forgettable. But I bought it too, of course.
Yeah.
So look, sorry to Steve Hogarth, the Marillion. Let's make it a double.
A double! A double.
Cheers.
Okay. Are you doing a double?
Okay.
Do you do a double?
I did. I think so. Okay.
Hang on. Oh, wow. So, number 9.
Number 9.
This award goes to Camel and their album Breathless, which I'm feeling a bit now. Bland with a good dose of poor production, all wrapped in a selection of songs that swing between disco and funk. I mean, very poor pop. The vocal performances leave a lot to be desired, and generally overall the worst Camel album ever. Slotted in between Rain Dances and I Can See Your House From Here, it seems impossible this is the same band in any way, shape or form. I didn't even make it through the whole of some of these tracks. I bought it and I shelved it. Nearly put me off Camel for life. Tom?
Well, look, we both recently had another listen to
You
the
can
album.
believe me.
And it's pop drivel at its worst. Actually, the title should have warned me that after listening to it that I'd be gasping for air. It's true. Look, look, there are some subpar Alan Parsons inspired tracks, terrible vocals. And I just usually leave the room if this album hits the turntable. It's a waste of coloured vinyl acetate, which is not biodegradable, by the way. So that means that my copy is destined for landfill. So
I've got it. I bought it. And I've listened to it, so...
okay.
Bottoms up.
All right. Cheers. So how many more?
One more to go.
Oh, well, okay.
Have we run out of prog bands?
Okay, I'm going to pick Renaissance.
Oh,
Now, I remember that listening to early albums of this band released when I was at uni in the early 80s. And I thought this band was just great. I love the characteristic sound of Andy Haslam's wonderful vocals. There was also piano, acoustic guitar, keyboards. Some nice orchestral arrangements and a prominent Rickenbacker bass guitar sounds. Sound played by John Camp, and he's a good player, and I really love his sound. And remember that album, Song for All Seasons?
That's a top album.
It's great. And then a few years later, they put out that album called Timeline in '83 with a weird sort of synth pop sound that just marked an all-time low for the band. And then they broke up, I think. And I didn't even recognise the band, their members on the cover.
The band members?
The only one track, Distant Horizons, sounded vaguely like the old band. It's downright miserable and it sucks. The album is a dance album, and if you want dance music, well, there's far better artists to choose from. So, like, just try Beyonce, for example.
Well, okay. Look, I agree. Timeline. Oh, excuse me. Oh, touched a bit. Timeline is a truly awful album. I heard the first track, Flight, and I thought it was really bad. Until I heard the rest of the album, and then Flight sounded really good in comparison. It was then I thought, someone took the original band and thought it would be a good idea to turn them into 80s pop idols. Remember the beautiful song Northern Lights?
Yeah.
Oh, forget it. This is nothing like that on any level.
That's right.
There's a disco thump on Orient Express, with a poor attempt at a funky bass, and it's truly disturbing considering this is peddled as a progressive rock album. The airbrush cover has shades of Love Beach, but we've gone full circle.
God.
Love Beach.
Not again.
The last track, Autotech, has more in common with the band Aha than progressive rock.
It's bad.
So, I bought that album. I actually bought that album too. Oh.
Now, technically speaking, I never bought that album.
Oh.
See, because someone lent it to me 40 years ago, and I've never returned it.
So you stole it then, and it's in your collection, right? It's in your collection. Okay.
Drink, please.
Time for a shot.
I need to erase that album from my memory. So let's, anyway, quick.
Cheers.
Look. So there we go. Okay, viewers. Okay, I can't even say it, I'm not even drunk. Okay, so viewers, so that's our bottom top 10. So, there you dropped it, you.
I'm trying to get it.
Look.